I was a serial monogamous because like I always just thought that I had to break up with people to start my next new relationship and to get that new relationship energy. So I'd always just like be with a partner, be pretty happy, and then find someone new and shiny who I was also interested in. And I was like, well, guess I have to go and break off this like really successful, fine relationship and go date this other person. Like that's a bummer, but like it just happens. And I thought I was like fundamentally broken for a really long time because I just didn't realize like what was going on behind the scenes.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from all over the world to hear their personal journeys of self-discovery through the lenses of love, sex, and relationships.
Our mission is to show people that they're not alone and to inspire them to embrace their true selves so that together we can open minds and live authentically without shame.
We believe everyone's story is powerful and beautiful, yet it's important to remember that everyone does life a little bit differently and that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we aren't doctors. Please consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 402. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have a wonderful conversation with Sarah. Sarah's in her mid to late 20s, an elder Gen Z.
Just like me.
As she describes.
I'm an extreme elder.
I was like, I don't know about that, Finn.
I'm the oldest Gen Zer there is.
Over the last several years, she's been figuring out what relationships really work best for her.
Yeah, I really love this conversation. And Sarah talks about how she feels like she's always been polyamorous, but didn't really have the words for it or know it was an option. So she'd find herself doing the serial monogamy thing. And it often felt like shit, but not anymore.
Yes.
I love that you can feel the excitement and energy from Sarah as she shares her story and what it's like to actually be doing relationships in a way that feels natural and great. So yeah, super excited for this. Thank you, Sarah, for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much, Sarah. We're excited to get this episode out there. For anyone who's a premium subscriber, we're going to jump right into the interview with Sarah now. And for anyone else, we're going to go through a few announcements. First up, if you're not familiar with our premium subscription, it's a way to skip these announcements up front, but don't worry, you still get important dates of upcoming events in the outro because we share those with all of you there. To sign up for the premium subscription, go over to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Scroll down on the homepage and you can sign up for $4 a month.
Next up, we wanted to tell you all about our community. If you're not familiar, somehow if you haven't heard us talk about it yet over the last 400 episodes.
Maybe this is the first episode someone's listening to.
Oh, well, welcome to the podcast. We've got some stuff for you. We lead a community full of over 300 people from around the world who socialize and support one another every day. We use an app called Mighty Networks where everybody gathers. We have monthly community calls, in-person retreats, and we've started doing free monthly workshops earlier this year. So we are super excited about all of this. We actually just had our July workshop last week, so don't worry, you can still get the recording, but we've got one coming up in August as well.
Yes, our next one is going to be on August 7th on reframing hierarchy, and that's going to be facilitated by Marla Schreiber, and they are actually going to be on the interview.
They're going to be on the interview seat.
They're going to be on the podcast next week. So you can come listen to their interview and then come join for their workshop in August.
Yes, it's going to be fantastic. Next week's conversation is incredible. So join us then and join us in August for the workshop. We also wanted to maybe do a quick plug here about our in-person retreats. We told you that we've got those.
Yes.
We've got our next one coming up at the beginning of October. That'll be October 3rd to the 5th here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So if you want to meet in person, these 300 incredible people, well, maybe not all 300, but a good chunk of them will be out here partying for the weekend. So we would love to have you come join us. You can find out more information on the community tab of our website. You'll also be able to find a list of all of the other workshops we have had earlier this year and coming up for the rest of this year. So basically, get your ass over to our website, check out the community tab. That's where the goodness is at. And we'll see you in there.
Next up, we wanted to remind you all about our favorite way to get tested for STIs. It is called stdcheck.com. You hear us talk about it all of the time. It is a service that Finn and I use, and we love it. It is fast and discreet and simple to use. So go over to our website, use the links on the resources tab, giving you a $10 discount, making a 10-panel test only $129, and you support the podcast. So thank you in advance for using those links, and you get to know your sexual health status, which
we call that a triple whammy.
Exactly. Sure.
You can't say exactly and then sure.
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Next up, we wanted to last up, we wanted to invite you to reach out to us. Please send us an email. We would love to hear from you. We would love to have you come on the podcast to share your story just like Sarah. So please, that's the best way to do it. We also are happy to hear if you have any feedback or questions for us. That's where it all happens. You can find out more under the Contact Us tab of our website. But basically, what we really want is you to come on here and share your story just like Sarah.
Yes.
That's the whole dream.
Yes.
All right.
And with that, let's go and talk with Sarah. Welcome to the podcast, Sarah. We're so excited to have you here today. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for coming on. And we're just happy that you're here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, let's just dig into it. Who is Sarah? We'll get a little bit of bio about you, and then we're gonna figure out maybe what relationships look like for you today.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Sarah. I'm in my mid to late 20s, so elder Gen Z. I'm poly, and currently I have a primary partner, a boyfriend, a common partner, and some folks here and there.
Amazing. We're excited to dig into it a little bit more. So maybe take us back in time. Where did non-monogamy first come into your worldview?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of my background is I grew up in a big city, but also super conservative, cishet, mononormative culture, not a lot of openness, not a lot of diversity, pretty suffocating. But I think I've always been poly. I just didn't know it was a thing until more recently. Growing up, I always had multiple crushes. I really enjoyed the chase of kind of getting to know someone, the will, they won't. They're are we going to date? Are we not going to date? I don't know. And I just love new relationship energy. It just gets me up in the morning. It's just the main thing that drives me.
It's a good coffee replacement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was a serial monogamous because I always just thought that I had to break up with people to start my next new relationship and to get that new relationship energy. So I'd always just be with a partner, be pretty happy, and then find someone new and shiny who I was also interested in. And I was well, guess I have to go and break off this really successful, fine relationship and go date this other person. That's a bummer, but it just happens. And I thought I was fundamentally broken for a really long time because I just didn't realize what was going on behind the scenes. So that was kind of scary. But then, yeah, I kind of just slowly started finding non-monogamy, and there's a whole longer story to that too. But yeah, I don't know if should I just get into the long story?
We would love the longer story too.
I kind of I started realizing I would be in a relationship with someone, and new relationship energy would work for a while, and then I'd meet all these interesting people from all over the place, and I was oh, I really want to pursue these other people. I would have crushes, I would do all these things, and then I would start my new relationship, and I was okay, cool, new relationship energy, great, but I still have all these interesting other people I met from my past, and I can't just stop flirting with these really interesting people I've been meeting. So it's this weird thing where I'd always really tread the line of what was okay while being in a committed monogamous relationship, and kind of play with okay, I can flirt a little bit, but not too much. I can't do anything that someone would call cheating or bad.
Yeah.
So I would kind of just cut it off, but always kind of be walking that line. I just had a lot of people like that in my life. I'm just very fun, flirty person. It's just a thing that I do. And then I kind of have to catch myself and be nope, we're going to dial it back and not do that. And then after my I think third or fourth multiple year-long monogamous serious relationship, we did long distance in the pandemic. And then coming back from that, we were okay, what if we tried opening up our relationship so we could both explore a little bit more? We kind of missed out on a lot of formative years that we could have been having at the time. And it was mainly his idea, actually. And it went fine when he did it. And then when I did it, it suddenly wasn't going fine. So I was cool, okay, we're going to end this relationship as well. And we're just going to see what happens next. And that's when I actually ended up meeting my current primary partner, Ben. And we've just been non-monogamous from the start, which was honestly pretty cool. We kind of had a very similar timeline-wise parallel journey of when we were discovering that monogamy just wasn't really working for us. And there's more fun things out there. So then we started off as open because we didn't really have all the vocab for it or anything. Then I was kind of just living in a big city. We were doing long distance at the time with Ben as well. So they were kind of dating in their city. I was dating in my city. Nice being in a big liberal city where you can do this kind of thing. The apps were great. Everything's awesome. So we just kind of had this open relationship thing. And then we started learning more about polyamory very slowly. We had a couple mutual friends who are poly, and we were oh, that's interesting. That's kind of what we're doing, but seems more intense. We were oh, maybe not for us, maybe not just yet. And then we actually ended up finding the Franklin Vose non-monogamy Venn diagram.
Mm-hmm.
My God, there's so many options, and we kind of just we saw it more as a meme. We were oh, this is kind of funny. Wow, people do all kinds of things. And then we slowly were oh no, we kind of want to be poly. This is more this is more our path. This is more exciting.
And this was with Ben.
Yeah. So with Ben, we've been non-monogamous from the start. And then we only had like a brief period of monogamy when we were moving states. And we were like, let's just, we're moving to a new location. Let's just try being monogamous for a little bit, see how that goes. It was terrible. So now we're back to just being poly. And I think that was around the same time we were like pretty certain, like, oh, we want to be poly with like serious other committed partners and not just like an open relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to dig into a little more with what you've created with Ben, but I was curious when you were doing the serial monogamy and sort of dancing along that line of what's okay and what's not, were you having conversations with your partners about that? Or was it sort of just the internal, like, well, this feels okay and this feels yucky, so I'm going to be okay? Like, were you just kind of like making it up as you went?
Yeah, I think making it up as I went, like, I was still in the mindset of like, oh, I'm the only weird one. Like, I'm the broken one. Let me just like keep this, my dirty little secret and like not tell anyone about it. So I think it was a lot of it was like just being like overly friendly with people. And I'm like, well, this could be considered friendly, right? Like, this is fine. Like, it was never anything where I was like, okay, I should probably tell my partner about this. And then a lot of it was also when I went off to college, I did long distance with my high school boyfriend, classic thing. And again, it was a similar thing of like, well, I'm meeting all these fun new people in college, like doing college things. Like, where's the line? It's hard to tell because I'm really just being friendly. How they interpret it, that's their problem. But I'm just being really friendly and kind of, yeah. So not really following any like specific rules, and definitely not as good at communicating as I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to learn along the way, right?
Well, and I think those are also, like you said, those are especially formative years, moving to college, you're figuring it out, all these new opportunities, what's okay, what's not. And yeah, and I think there's some of that I know I've like felt in the past where you're doing maybe something that if it were just purely friends, it wouldn't be a problem. But if you're in there like, well, I'm also kind of have a crush on this person. So now if I have lunch with them, does that make it not okay because I'm feeling something that I'm not telling anybody? Like, it's a big old mind game that's kind of hard to untangle.
Yeah, no, it definitely gets really messy. And I just really like developing deep friendships as well. So it gets even messier because I'm like, I really can't tell. I don't even know where we are anymore. But I do think it was very interesting when I like found myself actually liking someone else. And I was like, oh, shoot, well, I guess I need to find a problem in my previous relationship. Like, it's this weird like coping mechanism of like, let me just blow this up real quick just so it's like a clear break and then I can start over as if that's more ethical or better. Like, no, that's terrible. But yeah, we learned a lot.
Well, I imagine it didn't ultimately feel that good to you either. Like, you're trying to, like, feeling like you have to end this other relationship that's like a relatively good relationship, and you have to find a reason to blow it up. Like, that doesn't feel great.
Yeah, no, it's really not fun. I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just like all these lovely people that I've been dating? Like, there wasn't anything wrong in so many of these relationships. It was just like, well, new shiny person, like, yes, I have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. If I like a new person, the old person has to go. It's just such a broken system.
Them's the rules.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm curious, when you and Ben decided to open your partnership, when you said it was right from the beginning, did you talk about a structure for that? Or was it just sort of a little bit more of that, like, we're going to make it up as we go?
Yeah, I think we definitely had more intentionality about it. We had both done a lot of, at that point, like coursework and just other just communication tools that we had at our disposal, not necessarily aimed at non-monogamy, but just like in general, just very helpful forms of communication. So we were very, very open, very transparent. It was nice that we could go in like talking about crushes and just like knowing that it's not a monogamous thing to begin with, because then that just opened a lot of like, oh, like now it's not a surprise that I'm like want to run off with this person because I've talked about them before. Like, it's a different thing.
And that kind of started right from the beginning of like you guys starting to date.
Yeah. Like, we were like close friends, and then we were both realizing like, oh, we're kind of thinking about this whole like open relationship thing and what would that look like, and then like what does that look like for us. So I think we didn't know a lot about it, I would say, at the beginning. So that kind of made it tough to talk about it. Like, none of the vocab that I have now, thanks to your podcast, like, I didn't realize how many words are out there. I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's really helpful to have them. So we kind of just were figuring it out as we went. There were a lot of times where we would have an experience and like, oh, that's a no, or that's not great. And then we entered the good old rules phase where it was like, okay, you can only date people in this age range. The other thing you can do, these are things you can't do. No catching feelings, whatever, like all that stuff. And then we kind of just like slowly started breaking them. And it just became like, be safe, communicate well, don't be stupid. Like, it kind of just like devolved into a more sane thing. But we did have very good kind of check-in systems around it. Like, we were slowly starting to format the thing that we do today, which is we have weekly relationship check-ins. And one of the sections in that is like partners and friends. And we just talk about like all of our other connections, how they're progressing, what's up with that, any friends, like new friends, old friends, like stuff we want to turn into relationships, that kind of thing. And I think initially we did it like maybe every 2 weeks, every month. And now it's just like a weekly thing. And it's honestly been like super helpful.
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. And like such a good learning experience. And then to try it and be like, oh, this is something that is really like such a good touch point in your relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think too, right, the trajectory that you describe of, yeah, we're going to kind of make it up as we go to, oh God, we need a ton of rules because what the hell are we doing to, okay, all these rules really didn't make us any safer than we were before. We just maybe thought we were. That I feel like that ride is such a very common one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the beginning, it was also just easy to treat it like a more casual thing of just like, oh, it's an open relationship, it's long distance, like we're not living together, nothing like that. But then about 2 years ago, we moved in together. And then it became a much more like, okay, that kind of gave us the certainty of, okay, we're primary partners, we're committed to each other, we're nesting partners. Like we know we want to do the whole marriage and kids thing eventually, because I do really want to have kids. So it's nice kind of having that certainty as like a safety blanket of like, okay, we're here for each other, we got this. And now how do people fit into this? So it's like now we have this obvious rule that like, well, if we're primary partners, you can't have a different primary partner and have kids with them because we've already settled that we're going to do that together. So like these are the set activities and like life set pieces we're doing together. And that kind of clears up a lot of the confusion that we were having in the earlier stages of being poly of like, okay, well, if we're kind of primary partners, but you see this other person a lot more because you live in the same city, like where does that leave us? Versus now it's just like a lot clearer. So we need fewer rules, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and right, I think there too around the primary designation, right? Is that based on time? Is it based on
What is it based on?
what makes something primary versus other, right? And so,
And you get to decide that in your
yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how you communicate this or how it's been going, right? Coming together, living together, establishing more of a primary partnership and continuing to explore non-monogamy with you and Ben and bringing in the other partners that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's honestly been just so nice having that set point and like meeting people being like, okay, like I am poly and I do have a primary partner who I live with. Like it just makes it so much easier to not have those like no one who I've dated or like plan to date in my circle has any jealous feelings towards Ben because Ben is like on a different level, untouchable. That's fine. We're settled. And everyone who opts into kind of dating me knows that I'm not going to have children with them. I'm not going to cohabitate with them. I'm not going to share a pet with them. Like there's all these things that like Ben and I are doing and in this new relationship, we're not going to do. So it kind of gives it a nice guardrails of like, if you're still down to opt into this, great, then we can talk about what that relationship looks like. And then all of them look a little bit different. But it has been very helpful just kind of having that set piece and being able to communicate that to new partners of like this part already sorted, like I don't want your kids, I don't want your pets, like this is sorted, and then let's see what else we can build together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like acknowledging that the other person is then opting in or out. It's and they might have their own like this or these are what's going on in my life. Likely have that too, and you can both opt in or opt out. And if you opt in, then you talk about what does that relationship look like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's also very interesting dating where I'm at currently because I used to live in a much bigger city, and now I'm in a city, I guess, but it's really not a lot of people. It's like 40,000-ish people, give or take. And definitely not as many people in my age group as would be nice to have. So I end up dating a lot of monogamous people or people who think they're monogamous initially until they meet me. And we kind of just like work through that. So it's definitely challenging coming from a setting where people are like, oh yeah, you're poly. We know what that is. Cool. To just be like, I have heard of poly people, never dated one. So let's unpack this and like teach me everything about like what this means. So I'm in this weird position of like, how do I explain polyamory versus like, this is how I do polyamory. This isn't the gospel. This is just like how I do it currently. You can opt into how I'm doing it currently. Or maybe you'll find someone else who's poly who does it differently. But it's like it's a weird situation being kind of like forced to date so many monogamous people. Because often like the reason why it doesn't work out is like, oh, turns out they are monogamous like they said they were. And like surprise Pikachu doesn't work out. So it's kind of tough.
Yeah, I would love to dig into that a little bit because we've actually had some people reach out to us about this, or it was a conversation in our community a couple of weeks ago around sort of getting burned out on finding people that you're interested in and they're monogamous but willing to try it, and then you put in a couple of months or years or of energy just to have it be like, no, I really do want monogamy, and you're already telling them up front like, this is my life partner. We're going to have the kids. We're going to do the whole thing. So I'm just curious how has it gone sort of being that entry point for seemingly a handful of monogamous people?
Yeah, I think a good way to see it is kind of my three other relationships as case studies. So, like, one of the guys I'm seeing is on the younger side of the people I tend to date, so solidly mid-20s, and it just has a lot of time before he needs to settle down and like have a wife and kids, do that whole thing. So we're kind of just like, this might be fun for a year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe four, and then we'll reevaluate. But it's like very much well, he doesn't need to settle down right now, so this is fine. But it's very much still a poly-mono dynamic in that case.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my comet partner, for example, who's been divorced and is kind of like burnt out on relationships in that sense, has done the commitment thing, wants a little break, and has a weird job situation where he's kind of off doing crazy stuff for like a bunch of weeks in a row. And then occasionally we'll come to this area or we'll be able to date. So like having a date every month or every 2 months, that's his level of commitment. That's good for him. That's fine. So I think it's just a lot of finding those monogamous people who still have it in their timeline or have that capacity to date poly folks without the sudden like, oh, never mind, just kidding. I did have a never mind, just kidding situation a couple weeks ago where I already knew going into it that this person was pretty serious about monogamy, but I was like, well, we get along so well, and then we were like, let's just be friends. If you don't want to be poly, that's totally fine. Let's just be friends instead. And then we ended up dating for a while, accidentally, whoops, we kind of fell into that. But then after like 4 months, he was like, no, actually, like, this is not working for me. I do actually want to be monogamous. Like, this really doesn't go. And that was like a really hard time for me because I was like, well, I had this feeling this would happen because I knew going in that like this monogamy thing was going to be a deal breaker. I just didn't think it would be that soon or that it would be like at that point. Because again, this was someone who like had been divorced, wasn't necessarily doesn't want kids. Like that's another key demographic I really enjoy is people who don't even want kids. They're like, cool, go have kids with someone else. I don't want them anyway. Wonderful. But it was really tough kind of going through that breakup and just realizing like, wow, I really did this to myself, dating someone who wasn't really about this lifestyle. But again, it's just there's not a lot of people here. And like he was in a similar position. Like, sure, I don't like the poly thing, but like she's cool. There's not a lot of people here. So I think that was a big part of it as well. But yeah, it's always like funny. It's funny going through just a poly breakup because my friends just don't necessarily get it. Because you can't really say like, oh, you'll like find someone else. And it's like, you already found someone else. You have 3 other partners. You're fine. And it's like, no, but I'm not fine. Like, I still want to be treated like this is a really sad thing that happened to me and like have my other partners support me. But it's still weird because they're like, they're there. I still love you. I'm right here. So it's a bizarre situation, especially like even having a monogamous person break up with you who knows you're poly. Like, they also don't know how to like express sympathy. It's like, I'm sorry, but you'll be fine. Like, you have these other people. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still sad about you right now. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's a very strange situation for them to be in as well, not just me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're still human and you still have feelings.
Mhm.
And regardless of the dynamics. And I'm curious, like, how did you work through that?
Well, the breakup or just like,
Yeah. With like navigating that with your other partners and with friends.
yeah, I mean, I think like my friends were super supportive. There were a lot of people who just were treating it as a full monogamous breakup, I guess. So kind of just like there, it's gonna be fine. Their reassurance was again weird because they couldn't quite find the right words because they were like, well, you will find other people. You have found other people. You're gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. But I will say it's definitely one of the kind of better breakups I had. And I think looking back, it might have been well, again, it's hard having the breakup be with a monogamous person because they don't know about de-escalating and like figuring out like, okay, how can this work instead? So it basically was a very like amicable, normal breakup. I was just super sad about it, but the communication was there the whole time. And like he was saying like, oh, this is the best breakup I've ever had. I'm like, great, I'm glad you're having fun. That's awesome. But we're still friends and we still hang out. And now recently, like as of a couple like days ago, we started just being friends with benefits because you kind of like fall into that occasionally. And like that's honestly been going quite well so far. Again, it hasn't been like that long of a time, but the breakup was in like February. So it has been a couple months of just like healing and realizing, oh, like this is still something we can do together. And we can also just like hang out in a friend group and like it's still totally fine. And like it's definitely someone I plan to have in my life. So I think it kind of stings less that eventually it ended up being a de-escalation, not a full breakup. Cause like we still have that contact. We were able to get a lot of closure back and forth. That was super helpful and kind of just like unpack like, okay, how did we get here? How did this happen? And I feel like normally you don't really get to have that closure. So that was kind of awesome.
Yeah, well, I think it also maybe reinforces that it wasn't you were wrong or they were wrong or there was something, one of you was bad. It was just what we both want isn't really a good fit in this container, but a few months later, right, you've recreated a container, you've brought different elements back in, and you're like finding something that works for both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always joke amongst my friends, especially when I was dating last summer, I'd be like, "Oh, I lost another one to monogamy." Like this just happens a lot. Well, they'll start dating me and they'll date someone else and they're like, "Cool, I'm gonna be monogamous with her. Bye." And I'm like, "No, but we can still be friends. We can still de-escalate, come back." And I feel like I'm that way with a lot of people. And again, it's not a huge community. So I see a lot of my exes around all the time. And like I still want to be friendly, but now it's this like weird thing because they're like, oh, they're monogamous, or like even if they have since ended that relationship that they like ended our relationship for, it's still weird because it's like, oh, you're my ex. Like we can't just be cool. And I'm like, but we can, I promise. Hi. It's just hard to kind of help people understand that like this can be chill or like this can be at whatever level. Like I'm not trying to like make something happen. I'm not trying to like, I'm not scheming. I'm just like, I just want to be friends. I just want to be cool with people. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, Sarah, how, I mean, because like it comes to mind for me that I feel like sometimes in those situations you just kind of have to like endure and just show the people like I'm here. I'm just going to keep being here. You're going to keep pushing me away. Like this is, mono land, and I'm just going to keep showing back up and being your friend and almost like, I don't want to say force the de-escalation, but I feel like you just have to show people that there is commitment there, that there's commitment there to a friendship or to some type of connection, because I think we're just taught like burn it down, run away, and that's the only way out.
Yeah, and I think I definitely try to do that. Like I will be the person to continue a relationship in whatever form, far past I should. Like I need my friends to be like, no, stop texting. No, it's fine. Just like let them go, let them leave. It's gonna be fine. And I do have a hard time because people are so deeply conditioned to have this monogamous, like, oh, we've broken up, we used to date, never again. Like it's a whole like boys and girls can't be friends. Like it's a whole thing, and it's really hard for me to force them to kind of unpack that. So I have a lot of people
Yeah,
where like
once you break up, you must be enemies type thing.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Like I will like break up with someone, invite them to my Halloween party, and like text them 3 more times before I'm like, oh, they're just not responding. Like I think I should walk away and let this go. But then I'll have people who I like see every week and will just be like friendly and occasionally flirty, and I'm like, well, now I'm confused because like I really can't tell what you want from me. So it's just a weird situation. But I think like everyone has their own journey and like they'll come around eventually. And like I do really enjoy the kind of breakups that end in them finding someone else to be monogamous with, where we still like follow each other on social media. We still see each other around. Everyone's still friendly. Like it's still, we don't have to be friends, but at least if we can be friendly and like amicable, that's like fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I'm curious. I would love to circle back a little bit just around, or not even really circle back, but just dig into more of like what it looks like for your day to day, like how you manage the relationships and keep, I don't know, keep things flowing for you and Ben and your other partners in a way that feels good. Because I think, hierarchy gets, in many cases, rightfully so, a pretty bad rap. And there's some super toxic things that happen. But I'd love to dig into like how you balance it and how you navigate the sort of your relationship structure in a way that feels good for all the partners involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very interesting how we in like my relationships kind of balance hierarchy, but also relationship anarchy. Because I wouldn't say we're firmly in the relationship anarchy ground, but like looking at the smorgasbord, I'm like, oh, we're doing like all these things kind of separately, and there's not really necessarily a like top person like who has veto power, that kind of thing. So with Ben, my primary partner, we kind of just we use the term primary partner because we just always used that, even when we had a lot less vocab. It was just like a good way to signal to other people, like, this is my kind of my main person nesting partner. Had we known that was a term, would probably have been when we used earlier,
Hmm.
but it kind of just like stuck. So it's kind of just, it helps us to avoid confusion, especially like at our age, to be able to signify this is the person I'm going to do the like marriage and kids with. Like we're going to do the whole escalator, and then everyone else we're also going to spend a lot of time with, but like we're never going to cohabitate with anyone else. So kind of just like beyond that, for me, at least in my relationship structure, my boyfriend, who I've been seeing for almost a year, we have just a really good, very solid relationship. We spend a lot of time together. Like I normally, we actually meal prep together every Saturday for like 6 hours because my primary partner is vegan and we just don't eat the same stuff. And it drives me absolutely nuts because like we can't, there's like my side of the fridge and their side of the fridge, and there's like nothing in common really. But then with Bobby, my other partner, we get to actually cook the same meals, we eat the same kind of stuff. So that's like a whole fun activity for us. I feel like normally you do with like a nesting partner or someone who like lives a little bit closer, but everyone here is like pretty close to each other. It's like a 15-minute drive. So it's really nice because we get to have that weekly meal prep time. We also love watching movies together. which is one of my big love languages, just movies and TV shows. And again, my primary partner just doesn't like them. Like they just don't. So I get to like have this with my other partner. And so I think it's just nice having someone where we have a lot of similar hobbies. So if like, if a new movie comes out, like I'm not even asking Ben. I'm just like, hey, Bobby, want to go to this movie with me? Or like if there's a new activity, like if there's, let's say, a hot air balloon ride thing, it's like, Bobby, do you want to go do this with me? Because I know Ben has like no interest in this. So kind of just like figuring out who likes doing what. And then that becomes my go-to person for that said activity. So there's never anything where like Ben will say, oh, you can't do this with Bobby. Because like quite often Ben doesn't want to do this in the first place. And two, we just have this like pretty free, just like do whatever depending on timing. Like a lot of the scheduling stuff I feel like gets really messy sometimes, and like, okay, well, who are you spending the weekend with? And it's really like a first come first serve. Like for Valentine's Day I spent it with Bobby because he was the first one to ask me about it. So I was like, well, everyone else sucks to suck. Like, I already have plans with Bobby. That's just how it's going to be. So it's not like Ben gets my default time or anything like that. And then interesting enough, when like Tim, my comic partner, comes into town, it's so rare that I'm like, well, everyone move aside. I want to see Tim because I haven't seen him in like 8 weeks. So I'm like, whatever is happening, I'm just like, no, we're going to go to a rodeo and no one can do anything about it. And everyone's super chill with that because they're like, yeah, we miss hearing about your shenanigans with Tim. Like, go have fun, like enjoy the rodeo, and like we'll just figure everything else out. So I think there's also a kind of geographic component to it as well of like, okay, if someone from out of town is coming in, like let them have priority in a sense. So it's a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, but it sounds like you do, but it sounds very collaborative, right? That Bobby
it's
and
about
Ben,
the communication.
yeah, Bobby and Ben are cheering for you and Tim. Tim and Bobby are cheering for you and Ben and Tim are cheering for you and Bobby. Like everybody's looking out for the whole ecosystem to keep it floating and moving smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like in an ideal world, I would love for us to be like kitchen table poly, but realistically, like Tim hasn't met anyone because he's rarely in town. And when he's in town, like, no, I want him all to myself. Like, I want to go do a fun date and like do our thing. But so I think realistically now we're kind of like garden party poly, there we go, where we could like see each other hang out at like a garden party, a social setting, whatever. But it's not like we're actively having dinner together. One, because again, Ben doesn't eat the same shit we do. So it just doesn't work. But also just kind of people like each other from afar and they don't necessarily need to spend like a lot of time together. But anytime Bobby's over, like Ben will start talking to him and like we'll just have like a chat, three of us, or we'll talk about like something. So it's not like, oh, like you can't see me with my other partner type of thing. It's very like I really enjoy the kind of friendly, collaborative atmosphere. And I actually had a time in the past where two of my partners didn't super get along that well. And that was kind of challenging to navigate because I was like, oh, I just want everyone to love each other. Like with my friends and with my partners, I'm like, I just want us all to get along. I just want to host bachelor parties, have everyone be there. And I mean everyone, like my parents, my three partners, all my best friends. Like I just want us all to like be in a room and just be cool. And I think like having those like small moments of conflict, I'm always just like, oh shoot, like, and so you can't help it. Like sometimes you just don't like someone, and sometimes like maybe the way I communicate about someone throws them in a bad light, or maybe it's like jealousy related. Like there could be so many reasons why two people don't like each other. So we've kind of like not been forcing it. And I think that's when big growth of just like, okay, if these two people don't get along, we're just not going to force it. I'm just going to like invite them alternating ways in like to different things. And so it kind of just like, it kind of works out.
Yeah. Figuring out how like the people that do get along you can have in the same space and the people that like may not, it doesn't, not forcing it when it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it can be wild, and to bring together people that you're like, I love these people, or I really like these people, and you're like, you're going to love each other. And then you're like, love each other, damn it. Why don't you like each other? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's always worked in the past. Like one of my favorite things to do growing up was like my 16th birthday party. We did like this huge paintball thing, and I just invited like my old friends, my new friends, my like random friends from other places, and everyone loved each other. And it was awesome. And I just like, I keep trying to recreate that in my life, and it works out so many times that when it doesn't work out with my partners, I'm like, damn these male egos. Like I wish we could all just get along. Like when I lived in like the previous big city I used to live in, I would just like I had this really fun party where I made everyone wear dresses, like regardless of gender orientation, just like wear a dress, it'll be fun, it'll be cute. And at one point there were like 6 of us left, and Ben was like, hey, do you want to like guess what these 6 people in this room have in common? And I was like, I honestly could not tell you what is it. And Ben's like, oh, you've slept with all of them. And I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't even realize that, because they've just like become friends, they've become my people. Like it's kind of just become this fun social setting, and there was just like fewer egos involved. Like it was just a lot more chill about it. But I think a lot of it's also just really the demographics of the place I live in currently, which is like still liberal, but still also kind of like small town vibes a little bit, especially in comparison to like where I grew up, where I used to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wild world, and I
It
think
is.
we all come to this. I think even if we all come with the best intentions, which I think most people do, right? We have so much socialized stuff that we're trying to shed, and even if we want to show up and be like, "I'm the most evolved, compersive person in the world," like you could get triggered, you could get flipped, and you don't know what's coming your way. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like I feel that's the case with like jealousy too. Like Ben does not get jealous at all. It drives me insane. I'm like just like be a little bit more jealous just so we can relate to each other. But it's like not a bone of jealousy in their body. And so it's nice kind of talking with people like Bobby or with my current friends with benefits Joe of just like, oh no, we are jealous people. Like we totally get this a lot more. And like just kind of being able to talk to my other partners and like, yeah, I am poly, but I'm also a jealous person. Like those two things can coexist. I'm working on it. I'm trying to become less jealous and kind of channel my inner Ben and just be able to just like not have it bother me, have the most conversion ever. But sometimes I'm like, geez, that still doesn't sit well with me. Like someone goes on a date and I'm like, shoot, I don't like this. Like it's still tough to kind of work through that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious too, something you said a while ago around like growing up and like feeling like you were the broken one. And
Mhm.
I'm curious how that has shifted for you, how you've seen yourself grow into your relationship structure and where you're at today.
Yeah, I think just realizing how much healthier and more communicative my relationships are now has been just like so awesome. Like I don't have to it doesn't feel like I have this dark side that I have to hide. I now get to celebrate it with people and I get to like talk specifically with like Ben about it a lot and just be like, "Hey, I have this crush on this new person. How exciting." And just have that be a fun conversation, not a like shame you're a terrible person type of vibe. So I think it's just been nice kind of realizing, "Oh, one this comes super naturally to both of us and like I just really wish that I had growing up more language around this. Like I always thought polyamory was like three people living together and just everyone is hooking up with everyone. And that's the only, like, that was the only kind of thought I had of what polyamory was. And like, I didn't even think about swinging. I was like, that's just a thing like old white people do. Like, that's not a thing. Why I'm not old. Why would I do that? So it just never even like, it never even registered for me that this was a thing and like all the varieties and like the actual things that polyamory and swinging are and like that whole thing. So I think once we kind of found that and started settling into it, it's like, oh, this is super natural. This is how my brain works. This is awesome. And I get to communicate and show up in the relationships how I would want to show up and like how I've always wanted to show up in my ideal world and have that be celebrated and not something where people are like, ooh, you shouldn't be doing that. That's bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and it's fascinating to me too, Sarah, that it feels like this, like you said, this has sort of been you the whole
Yeah.
time, but you grew up, you sound like conservative in a world where
Just more traditional.
yeah, you didn't have access to this. And it almost feels like you just sort of like are set free, like where you're just like prospering.
Yeah, no, it's honestly been awesome, and it's kind of funny thinking back to just even just from my age, you would think that it would be a more accepted thing and people would just be more aware. But still, I have a lot of friends who have no idea about the whole thing. Like we did a PowerPoint night a couple weeks ago, and my whole topic was like polyamory, and I like brought out the Venn diagram, and I was like, here are all the different things. Like, can people guess where like me and Ben are, and like kind of point to the diagram of where we are, and kind of just like talk through it. And there were still so many things that even my close friends like didn't know about my relationship structure, still weren't aware of like what any of these words meant. So I think it's really interesting how even though the information is out there, people still don't necessarily have access to it to the
Yeah.
same level, regardless of how old you are and like where you grew up and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually leads me to the next question I was going to ask is like, how like open are you with people? And it sounds like pretty open.
Yeah, I would say definitely ever since moving here, we've kind of just like been like, oh, we're poly from the get go. That's just who we are. That's just how we are. I would say people who I like went to high school with, maybe a couple of them might know because gossip is crazy like that, but it's not necessarily like a main thing. People I went to college with, probably most of them wouldn't know because it just never came up. I was always in a relationship, so they just like didn't even put me in a box of like a dateable person or like someone who might be dating people, like period. Because I was like, oh, she's spoken for high school boyfriend, whatever. We're just gonna like shut that down. I would say I did tell my parents when I was still living in my previous city in the previous state and I was just like in an open relationship with Ben. Like I did mention that. And like they met like one of my girlfriends at the time. They met like one of my other partners. And it was like cool and super chill. Like my mom used to teach like gender studies at university. So she's like really, really chill. But it hasn't really like come up in 2 years. So I'm kind of like now I don't volunteer that information because I'm like, I don't know if they still remember this or if this is like I haven't told them we're monogamous, but I'm assuming that they assume that. And it's kind of a similar position with like Ben's family where initially this was super clear, but like I don't think this has come up because you don't just talk about like, oh yeah, my girlfriend's seeing these other people. Like it's just not a thing you talk about with your parents necessarily, and especially with people like my grandmother. Like, even the idea that I would have male friends, she's like, can't, that's impossible. Like, so I can't even, like, even if I'm actually hanging out with a friend, I have to say I'm hanging out with my girlfriends and we're doing this and that. So that's like, there's definitely people where it's like, it's too far gone. We're just gonna let that be. But with my parents, it's like kind of like, I keep thinking, like, going back and forth, like, will I send this episode to them? Will I not? Like, we'll see. But I don't like kind of hiding this part of myself, but I also don't necessarily think it's everyone's business. So like, at my workplace, at my previous job, I happened to be with someone who had a husband and a wife. Like, we were coworkers, so it was like super chill because we got to like actually talk about this, and it was like a surprisingly woke work environment. But normally that's absolutely not the case. Like, normally it's just like, nope, it's just me and the person I live with who I'm gonna get married to. Like, don't think about it too hard. Like, okay, bye. So it's kind of tough to figure out like where and what, and kind of now living in a more smaller community, liberal city, it's kind of hard to hide. So it's better to just like be out and open. Like, this is who we are. Everyone's chill about it. There's a lot of poly people here, so it's like really not that bad. But yeah, I'm still kind of like figuring out where the line is and who I feel comfortable sharing and not sharing with. It's kind of interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, you have to feel into it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, and what benefit is this? What are the downsides? How do I feel about this? And you have to make those choices for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. You've talked a bit about you've struggled a little with jealousy, and I'm curious. Are there other places in this journey for you that you've found places? We'll call them growth edges, growing opportunities for yourself, or maybe things that you're really sort of proud of how you've navigated situations and come out the other side. I mean, apart from the crush and the breakups.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting. I think a lot of the issues and things that came up with were with one of Ben's other partners initially. So I don't want to talk like too much about that, but it was mainly just a lot of misunderstandings around where my place is in like Ben's life and like how solid and like sturdy that is. And I think almost all of our problems that like ended up as a result of that were solved once we called ourselves primary partners and kind of made it clear like, oh no, we're not gonna move in together, we are moved in together, this is happening, this is a thing, and then people can make of that what they will. So I think a lot of it has been, how do I communicate with Ben's partners? How can I be better at that? And what's really tough is like, Ben hasn't dated anyone else in a while because they've been doing like a really intense study post-grad thing. So I it's just, you don't have time. So I feel like we barely have time for date nights, let alone them dating like other people. So I'm kind of really excited to have them have a little bit more time, date those other people so I can grow more, because I know a lot of stuff is going to come up. I know I have a lot of like shit that I can sweep under the rug because like Ben's not dating anyone right now. And again, also like Bobby and I have a mono-poly dynamic. So like, if at some point he wants to start dating other people, I might start feeling other kind of feels. And honestly, with like Tim, my comment partner, I don't even know if he's seeing anyone else. It just never comes up, which is crazy. Like, I keep wanting to bring it up. It just never comes up organically. So I'm just like we just feel like having oyster. I'm like, how many people are you dating? Like, it just doesn't come up. So I think I'm gonna try to find a way to like actually figure that out, because it would be nice to know. But yeah, I think most of my growth would come with like interacting with my metamors if I were to have more. And I don't know how many I have, if any, currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's really fascinating around how you do the dance with Tim, because I think, maybe people who aren't as familiar with the Comet style partnerships, like that can be a little bit disorienting to be like, wait, you don't even know what's going on with this person when they're not with you. But like you've kind of described it as, well, when Tim comes to town, we clear our calendars for a short amount of time, we have a great time, and then we don't do it for another 6 to 8 weeks. And
yeah, and like I know for a fact that Tim isn't like surrounded by women just due to his job. Like, he's surrounded by men in a pretty closed environment. So like, I don't think there's a lot going on. It's just like, I don't know what he does when he's like driving through other states, on his way here, on his way back, like in the other days that he's not spending with me. No idea. And I don't think there's necessarily anyone, because I feel like that would have come up as like a voluntary information sharing. But he also hasn't said, no, I'm not seeing anyone else. And like, he doesn't have to. But like, I'm still curious. I'm a nosy person. So
yeah.
Which is like, I think it's okay to be curious about that. And he can decide what he wants to share. And you can talk about that and what it brings up for both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's in line for our next date. Maybe when we go to the rodeo, I'll just be like, hey, how many other people are you seeing?
Yeah, you can talk about it, and then you've got an 8-second window where you got to pay attention, and then you can talk about it. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty well versed on how rodeos work, obviously. Big fan over here.
I'm curious too. Do you see anything shifting in the future for yourself around this, around relationship structure? I know that you've talked about, getting married and having kids, but anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think like I've recently been realizing that I'm very kind of polysaturated at 4. So having 4 partners feels really good to me. And right now I'm kind of at like 3.5. So I feel like I still have that like extra time and energy to be like thinking like, oh, who are these other fun people I could be dating? But when I was dating 4 people briefly this winter, I was like, wow, my calendar's booked, like it's done. It is too much. So I think I need to learn how to be okay with only only seeing 3 people, and kind of just like be able to protect my me time a little bit more. Because I think that does get lost in the mix after a while, especially for most of my other partners, I'm their only partner. So then I just like feel like I owe people my time.
Yeah.
And that's actually been an interesting thing. Like with my breakup that went from like dating to friends with benefits is like the bonus part is now that I don't feel like I owe him my time. With any other friend, like if I have time, I'll see you. If I don't have time, I will not be seeing you for a couple weeks, and that's totally okay. And kind of just like figuring out like if I do want to add new people and have kind of taste that new relationship energy, like what do I do? Because I kind of like all my people right now, so I can't really be adding more people without sacrificing a lot of my own personal time. So I think just kind of being okay with fewer partners, learning how that whole thing works, and then ideally just like doing the whole relationship escalator. Like wedding planning is probably going to be a lot of time, having kids a lot of time. So we'll just kind of see what I actually end up having time for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you kind of touched on it in here, but I'm curious a little bit around how you keep yourself like safe and healthy around, I mean, not just physically or, sexually, but, emotionally and mentally as you're balancing, I mean, 3, 4 partners, 3.5 partners, it's a lot, that's a lot going on. And like you said, your me time is really important as well.
Yeah, I think I've been trying to be a little bit better about just kind of guarding my time. I also just love my therapist. She's great, like helps keep me sane. That's always awesome. I think all my partners should be in therapy. I feel like half of them are, half of them aren't, but that's fine. I think that's really helpful. I think also just having a really good support system of friends. Like I just have a lot of people who I can just complain to about a lot of things or just kind of vent the frustrations of like, oh, I don't have time. And they're like, well, I can't empathize. I'm dating 0 people. You're dating 4. Like this happens, but they're still happy to listen and they'll still try as best as they can to empathize. So that's been huge. And also just like I figure skate a lot. So just like exercising and just like keeping myself somewhat sane. And also just having activities with friends that are pre-planned. So we used to do these bachelor watch parties. And right now we're kind of on a hiatus. We're waiting for Paradise to start in the summer. So that'll be nice just kind of having these set points in time where there might be a partner or 2 there, but I'm mostly seeing my friends and kind of getting my social battery recharged in that way. And kind of just like trying to balance. I just really need more alone time. That's my big thing that I keep trying to work on. Like, oh, I really need to block that out, just like I would block out a date, and kind of just make sure I have time to take care of myself and do my chores and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you cleared up another question I had, which I didn't know how to ask. Is it sounded like when you said it earlier, you said I throw lots of bachelor parties, and I was like, okay, I didn't. Those are bachelor watching parties. That's a TV thing. Okay,
I got the same thing.
that's very different. I was like, wow, you must host a lot of bachelor parties, but okay, I don't know what's going on in your life, but good for you. I
Makes a
love
lot
that.
more sense.
You also mentioned PowerPoint parties, which I mean, coming from a couple of nerds, that sounds like a good time.
It was really fun. Like, I'm really hoping we're going to do another one soon. We just let everyone pick whatever topic they wanted to pick. And so it was a little bit chaotic. I think next time we might try to rein it in. Folks were throwing out, like, what if we did one about everyone's job and explaining that? And a lot of us were like, that is too depressing. Let's not do that one. I work enough hours a week. I don't need to talk about my job in my free time. But I feel like living in a place that's kind of as far north as we are, you just don't get a lot of sunlight, especially in the winter. So you have to do something to stay sane because you just gotta. So I think just anything that has a screen involved is always a fan favorite because you can't just go out to bars all the time. So
Right. Well, and I think too, it sounds like you've really built up a lot of community support around yourself,
Yeah.
not just in like your polycule proper, but friends, family, in a system that really fuels you like across the board. And I'm curious what that looks like for you and how you've maybe done that.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's been interesting, kind of just again moving to a completely new place, figuring out like, okay, how do social dynamics work here? What is happening? Interestingly enough, one of the things that super helped her was this like massive Facebook group that people are just a part of. It's basically just like insert city name 20 somethings. And it's just anyone who's like in their 20s. And now it's 20-ish somethings because people start getting older and now they're in their like early 30s. And they're like, oh, shoot, well, we can't kick them out. And it's just a lot of like random events and activities and just people roughly my age group doing stuff. So like I went to a bunch of like volleyball meetups, all kinds of stuff. And I just started slowly collecting my people that I kind of enjoyed. And I also just love hosting parties. So like every year, I do this big Halloween party and I just kind of invite anyone who I'm remotely talking to and just like come through, like wear a fun costume. It'll be great. And so that kind of creates community as well. So I end up with like a couple different friend groups. I also met a lot of friends through figure skating, which was really awesome. And I think I've just had my whole life very robust, just like online community of friends that I've had in previous places I've lived and kind of just like stuck with me throughout the years, which has been awesome because like they're always in a weird time zone available at odd hours. And it's kind of nice to have that support at like 2 a.m. when no one else is awake, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah,
the Hawaii friends are important.
yeah, exactly. And so it's just like really, really helpful having a lot of people around and that I don't feel like I'm necessarily like burdening any like one group of people with all my problems or like one friend, or it's just like it's kind of like how I treat my friendships a lot like how I treat my relationships. Like I have my go-to friends for like specific activities or specific things. So it's just kind of nice. Like, oh, I have my friend who I complain to about like relationship stuff. I have my friend who I complain to about poly relationship stuff, which is different. And then I just like have a different kind of split of like everyone has a kind of very helpful function in my life. And I feel like I also fill very specific roles in their lives of like how I support them, where I show up. Like they can expect me to be there if they plan a month in advance. If they plan a day in advance, I will not be attending because my schedule is full. So kind of just like figuring out like how that whole thing works. And honestly, it's just been very fun kind of figuring out how to make friends post-pandemic as an adult in a place that doesn't have a lot of people. Because you need to find the people because they're not just out and about. But once you start knowing people, you see them everywhere. So it's a really weird kind of like once you invest in someone, it'll just like come back so many times as a helpful thing because you'll just see them all the time. So that's kind of helpful.
Yeah. And it's testament to show that like the effort of like showing up and putting that effort in, you get reward after that. You get to meet people, you get to start being a familiar face, and that takes time and intention, but it's so important.
Well, and two, I think, all of the different resources you listed, the Facebook group, all of those things I heard, none of them were polyamorous or non-monogamous, right? They were just people, right? It was ice skating. It's this, it's that. It's activities you like doing. Go out and do them. You'll meet people. They'll become friends. Maybe they become partners, but you're just trying to like build up around you without the like hyper focus on like swiping on apps. It sounds like not like a big part of how you've built your community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also just a circumstantial thing. Like I really wish there was more of a poly community here, but it's almost like there's no gay bar in town because everyone's gay. Like it's really, there's no specific, like there's not enough people to have these niche subgroups because it would be like 10 people or like 15. And it's like, it just doesn't happen like that. And it could be that I'll send this to people and they'll be like, oh, you are so dumb. There's so many poly spaces here. Like, let me send you some links. And like, please, anyone listening, do send me links. But I'm kind of like hoping to try to seek out that poly community a little bit and like see like, is there one? How do I find it? But similar to how like certain apps just don't work here. Like you can't be on Field because there's again 3 people there probably. Like it just doesn't even you're kind of forced to, when meeting new people, go the like Tinder, Hinge route, like the main dating apps, because like even Bumble, not enough people on there. Like it's just kind of crazy how you have to really find people where they're at and like figure out how to seek them out. And there's just a lot of like, well, I'd love to have a poly community. I don't know if there is one. I don't know how many people are in there. So it's just got to make do with what I have. And I do really like what I have. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah. Well, and I love too that what it sounds like you've created is this sort of blended community of there's a handful of poly queer folks and monogamous people who they all get along. Everybody's okay in sort of building that space together.
Yeah, and it's been fun seeing my monogamous friends kind of include me more in things. Like often they'll say partners plural welcome, and they'll sometimes even do a little shout of like as many as you want, like bring 2, bring 3, like that's fine. And I do always really appreciate that because I feel very seen. And then of course there's always folks who are like, who the hell is Bobby? And I'm like, I've been dating him for a year. Where have you been? So it's kind of tough, like balancing out like, okay, how often do I bring my partners places, and just realizing like, oh, I might never have brought my partner to this friend group. Maybe I should do that a little bit more and kind of just like get people even more enmeshed. But there's always more things to be worked on there.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I hope people have taken away from this conversation is just how much like you're full of joy and happiness around this. And not to say that there haven't been challenges, but I'm just curious for you, just sort of kind of bringing things to a close here. Like, what is your maybe like favorite part or favorite parts about exploring non-monogamy, living in this way since you have, and just what, like, how it really resonates for you and your sort of life goals and sort of ethos.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I just really like people. Like I just like people a lot. I think people are fascinating. So I just love building those connections that you can only make with people in a relationship. Like I feel like there's such a like deeper conversations. Like there's a lot more, especially like dating. I date a lot of men. Like just the vulnerability that you get out of a man like in a relationship versus a friendship. It's just like a completely different world. So I'm like, I wish I could date all my friends so I could like actually get to the nitty-gritty of like what makes you tick. Like tell me more about your feelings. Like let's get there. So I think I just like really enjoy spending time with people who just really like deeply care about me and show up for me consistently in a framework that's like, again, dating is just such a helpful framework for like showing up for someone. Like you don't really have like with a friend, it's like I haven't seen my friend in a month. It's like cool, and but like if I haven't seen my girlfriend in a month, people are be like, go hang out with her. What the hell? So I feel like it's nice kind of having those people who are like always in my corner, always there. And just in general, like having those healthy like romantic relationships are just so fulfilling to me personally. Like I feel like I can do all my work drama and all the other stuff going on. It's like, but I have all these people who love me, and isn't that awesome? Like it kind of just helps me like be more chill about other life things. And sometimes I'm like, oh, what if it's the apocalypse? Like we'll all live on a commune, it'll be fine. Like we'll just like be farmers, it'll be fine. So kind of just like having that support system kind of helps me navigate the other parts of my life. And I think it's also just made me a better communicator, a better friend, even though I have less time, and just a better like person to be around because I have all these like fun, happy people kind of just like pouring into me, and then I get to like pour into other people in turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love what you said there. Like, I've been a better friend, even though I might have less time. And then that kind of made me think of something you said earlier about your dynamic, I think primarily with Tim around commitment.
Mhm.
And like, there's a difference between being very committed to something and it happening once every 8 weeks or, even 6 months, or we're committed to seeing each other annually versus I see this person all the time, but there maybe isn't that level of commitment. And I think just decoupling the idea that we can be committed in various ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also interesting how that commitment shows up in some of my other partners too. Like often Bobby will be like, oh, like go hang out with Tim. He was here first. And I'm like, yeah, technically by like 3 days, like I met them both at the same time. But there's still this like, but you have been seeing, I've been seeing both of them for the same amount of time. I've just spent like 10x more time with Bobby just because of the circumstance and where we live. I think it's also been very interesting seeing how that commitment can kind of be like misjudged or kind of like lead to weird different kinds of jealousy from my partners. So for example, no one's ever jealous of Ben because Ben was there first. But if I start dating someone that I date a new person, then it's all these feelings like, oh, am I getting replaced? And it's like, no, it should be the same. From where I'm sitting, by all accounts, it should be the same. But for some reason, it's really different. And I did end up having a couple of folks where that just like didn't work out for them to just like have me like dating more people and actually fully like expressing who I am. Like a lot of what I like about non-monogamy is the flirting, is the chase, is the going on a first date and having 100 terrible first dates. Like that's kind of part of the fun for me. Like I want those weird cringy experiences that are maybe borderline unsafe for like my physical well-being, like in the sense of like, do you know this person? No. Are you going to meet them in the middle of the night? Maybe. But like it's going to be fun, it's going to be safe. But it's just really like interesting when people who I'm dating kind of hear me talk about like going on dates with other people or like maybe going back on the apps or meeting new people and are just like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, you knew this coming in. So then it's a fun like kind of, okay, where did I lose you? Like you knew I was poly. I'm dating you and all these other people. I want to date more people. Where does this become unacceptable? Let's kind of unpack that and let's talk through it. And I think I've made a lot of just like breakthroughs in a lot of my current relationships where that has come up less as an issue because I've kind of like made my mistakes, navigated poorly in the past, and then now I'm back to navigating it a lot better and we're making fewer mistakes and it's just a better experience for everyone kind of just unpacking like why is this? Why does some level of commitment bother people and why is it that a lack of commitment towards new people is more bothersome than having more established partners? Like it's a very interesting kind of thing. I'm excited to learn more about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that dance I think is one that is we've often heard too is so common, right? Is everybody's okay with my existing partners, but then if I bring somebody new in, it's like all hell breaks loose. Right?
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
I wanted to pick up one other thing that you threw out in there because, and this is not a challenge to this. I was just curious how you do it. You said, am I going to meet them in the middle of the night? Yeah, maybe, but it's going to be safe and it's going to be fun. And I'm curious how do you go out on dates and navigate meeting people in a way that has all those elements of fun and excitement and the like, yeah, I'm going to go on a horrible first date, but that's what I want to do, and keeping yourself safe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have a really this is the least helpful piece of advice, and the rest will be more helpful, I promise. But like, I have a really good sense for who's like actually a sus person, and who's like just a weirdo, or like a person who like the situation is sus, but the person seems very safe. So I think
Mhm.
I have a really good meter for like the people I go out with in the first place. But the actual helpful things is I have like 10 friends on Find My who just like know my location at all times, and they'll just be like, beep beep, where are you? Why are you in the middle of the woods? Like, this was not the plan. So I think we have a lot of that with a lot of my friends too. Like, one of my friends went on a crazy date where the guy was going to drive her home and then drove the other way. And she was like, hello, where are we going? And he's like, oh, I was going to do a little detour. She's like, 3 of my friends have my location. You better drive me home right now. And he was like, okay. And just drove her home. And like, again, what would have happened? We don't know. But just like having that network of people kind of be there and be aware of you is really helpful. I actually even had like someone I was seeing casually monitor my other date, because I was like, you're at home, you're not doing anything. Can you make sure that I'm back home at this exact time? Otherwise, call the cops. So I think there's a lot of just being an anxious person. I have all these extra things that I kind of keep in my back pocket of like, I have this set, I know the plan, I know the places I'm going to go. I only go to like places that are either familiar to me or have like enough people around or something. Because there's like a fine line between it's a small town, what can happen, and we're surrounded by woods. That's like kind of hard to navigate of like, okay, well, things can still happen. But I think just kind of making sure then I have people looking out for me, I have people checking in on me. And more often than not, I've been in a totally safe situation and just forgot to check in. And I got like 4 phone calls and people were like, hello, ma'am, you should have checked in. And I was like, oh, my bad. I am a terrible person. I'm so sorry. And then like, I'll do better next time. And I think I've been having fewer of those slip ups recently where I just like lose track of time because I'm having fun. Just like, oh, no, never mind. We're being safe. And like, similarly, I'm very safe about like STDs and stuff as well. Even if it's someone if it's someone I'm remotely interested in, I'll just start like throwing it out there like, hey, what do you think about getting tested regularly? Just curious. What are your vibes? Or like, in case this ever comes up, I was tested last Tuesday, like that kind of thing, just to like see what's their reaction. Are they like, whoa, wait, do you have something? Or are they like, oh yeah, I was tested last month. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, just kind of knowing like where this person's at. Because I feel like people can also like lie about being tested recently. They can make up a fake test if they want to. Like, I don't need you to like wave a paper at me. I need to like look you in the eyes and see if you are someone who does this regularly and is actually caring about their sexual health, or are you just like someone who's trying to like get laid? Like, that's a very different vibe. So I think I do a pretty good job, but I've also like definitely made some like questionable things, especially early on in my dating career, that was like, oh, not as smart, could have done better, but oh well. We're
Been
still
there,
here.
been there, done that. We got you, Sarah. I love that. I love all the tips, and I think too. I mean, I know you said your first one, just sort of having a good radar for this. I think it's simultaneously, like you say, well, that's not super helpful, but I think it is in the sense that
Listening to your intuition.
people listen. Yeah, listen to yourself, right? If you're hearing something or feeling something, even if you're like, okay, well, we're going to meet in public. How could this, like, it's okay to stop something and say, you know what? I'm going to come back next week. I'm going to come back to this, give it some time. Or like you said, right, start floating little things, right? Oh, mention STI testing. And does the person kind of give you a look like, oh, why do you want to talk about that? Or are they like, yeah, let's talk about it. I love this topic, right? Like you can start to feel these things out in little like breadcrumbs rather than waiting until the last minute, or you're at the pivot point of, I'm going to drive into the woods with you or not. Like, can you suss that out earlier?
Absolutely. And I think it's also 2 things that are very of my generation. I think we're very good at like online bullshit detecting. Like, I think there's just a lot of things where like you can learn and it is teachable. Like, hey, do they only have one picture of their face? And of course, now with AI generated, I give up. Like, I think I'm just never going back on the apps again. But like, in the past, you really could have a lot of sense of like, okay, do they look like the same person in every picture? Like, are these like very basic things like, are you being safe enough? Do they text normal? Like, is there something about their texting language that's just a little bit off? Because again, like growing up so online, we know if someone's texting weird. We know if it's a weirdo. It doesn't have to be a face-to-face conversation. So I'll often have like I don't want to pen pal people to death, but I'll just be talking to someone for a while before we go on a date, partially because of my schedule. I'll be like, cool, I'm free in 3 weeks on a Thursday. If that's too late, that's already a red flag for me. Like, if they can't Like if they want to meet me right now, I'm like, okay, maybe not. But that gives me enough time to kind of suss people out and be like, okay, is this a normal person? What are the red flags? Are they red flags I'm okay with? Or are they red flags that are definitely not safe? And kind of just go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I really appreciate you kind of talking about this a bit more.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Me
super
too.
helpful and valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd love to also check in and see, like, is there anything else you wanted to share today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's mostly the main things. The one thing I did want to touch upon, which I'm really curious about how it's going to go, is just having like kids with polyamory. Like to me, it's very, again, I don't have children right now. I do really want to. I've always wanted to be a mom. So I kind of wonder like what, in my mind, I assume it would still be a helpful thing to just like have more people around in a sense of like, oh, it takes a village. And like, obviously, there's a lot of like people you've had on your podcast. So like, when do you tell the kids? How do you tell the kids? All that kind of thing. But even just like to me, what's really important for me is like, I want someone to see me as a woman after I have a kid. Because I feel like I see so many people where they have a kid and now they're mom to their husband or their partner. You are now mom, mother of my child. I'm attracted to you kind of, but like I saw a baby come out of you. And I would just love to have people who didn't see the baby come out of me. Like I just want to be able to have people around me who can still like see me as a woman, as a full human, not just as a mom to this small human being, and kind of just like have that broader support system kind of like emotionally and just like still getting the same experiences out of life that I did before. And like I'll still want to go to a rodeo. I'll still want to go do like weird shit. Like I just want to kind of have that freedom. And I feel like often you end up being more of a, especially in monogamous relationships that I've seen at least, it's more of a like roommate who you're raising kids with. And I kind of just like want to be able to have all these other partners, bring that dating energy back into my primary relationship and kind of just like have a more holistic parenting experience that's not just like taking over my life. So again, I don't know if this is how it's going to work out. We'll see. But that's kind of like my hope and dream. Like to me, it's like even more compatible with polyamory that I want to have kids because I have a very solid plan for like how I want to do it and very strong hopes for how I want it to work out. And we'll obviously see. And there's a lot of, I can already tell there's partners of mine who just like don't like kids. And I'm like, cool, don't come near my kid if you don't like kids. That's totally fine. We'll do the things that are not kid related together and that'll be fine. And I have a lot of friends who love kids and might not have kids of their own. So they'll love to like come babysit, hang out with my kids. Like that'll totally be fine as well. But I'm just really excited to kind of do that next step in my life and still retain my partners who want to hang out and just be around for this and kind of prepare them like, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to be low on sleep. These are like, from what I can tell about motherhood, like this is what to expect and like be prepared for that. And kind of just like see who wants to hang around, how doing those whole like opt-in conversations of like, how involved do you want to be? Like, what does this look like for us? Like, how will this kid in my primary relationship affect all my other relationships? And kind of just like see how it goes. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd love to sometime in the future have you back on and
That's right.
and figure it out, like see what happened.
Yeah. I was actually thinking, I think there's two sort of updates coming. There's the all of Sarah's partners start dating people.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then there's Sarah has a child. And I think, so I'm excited for parts 2 and 3 to come. So
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And once my partners date other people, I might bring them on as well because they all do really like talking. So we'll
Okay,
see.
great.
Perfect.
Great.
Well, they are all more than invited. So
Yes.
we're really excited for that. And
Yes.
just super grateful for you reaching out, Sarah, for coming on and for sharing your story with us today.
Awesome. Thank you. And can I share a blooper while we're still
Oh,
here?
yeah. Do it. Let's
Please.
do it.
I've been ready. I'm so
Okay.
ready.
All right, give us the blooper.
So it also ties into my whole like tidbit about unsafe dating experiences. So keep in mind, this will be my first date off a dating app like ever. When I first opened my relationship, when I was dating Ben. So once Ben and I were dating in an open relationship.
So this is
Big
early.
city.
This is early game.
Yeah, this is early. So I had matched with some people and this one guy's profile just like screamed catfish. Like all the red flags you could think. I was like looking at the pictures. I can't tell if this is all the same person. Like the shirtless picture like looks a little bit like it's not his face. Like there's a lot of things where I was like, ooh, I'm not so sure about this. Everything like his bio too. It was like self-made multimillionaire, but super humble, like that kind of thing. I was just like, oh no, this can't be a real person. So my first message to him was, not gonna lie, your profile is hella sus. And he basically had to spend like 2 days convincing me, no, he's a real person. And like the whole like making a very specific funny face and sending me a selfie of that. Again, this is before AI where you could just like knock that stuff out. And so I was like, okay, he does seem like he is the person from the picture. So far, so good. Not sure about that bio, but I don't need him to be a multimillionaire. That's totally fine. We can just grab dinner. That's okay. So then I was like, let's find the smallest, most public restaurant I could possibly find with like the lowest time commitment food. So I was like, let's get sushi in a really small sushi bar that's like pretty decent. And then I had a couple of my friends watching my location. I had Ben watching my location. I had one of the other guys I was talking to casually watching my location, which was also really stupid. But anyway, so I did end up meeting up with him. And like, turns out, joke's on me, he was a super nice, lovely guy, just like really bad at using dating apps, like terrible. So I was like trying to explain to him, like, your bio is like awful. Like, everyone's going to think you're fake. And he's like, yeah, I haven't been getting that many matches. I'm like, yeah, because it doesn't sound real. It's like terrible. So we ended up having a great conversation. I did end up going on a second date with him like a year later. He just lives like really far. But it was just like a funny time kind of realizing, oh, okay, like I had all the right instincts. He was actually an okay person. And like I had all the precautions in case he wasn't, but it was actually a perfectly fine time. And then I checked back on his dating app a couple weeks later and he did update his bio and it was like a lot better. Like it actually sounded like a person. I was like, okay, praise. That's awesome.
You're making the world a better place for him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, and I try to like leave all my partners a little bit better than I found them. And I'm often giving dating app profile advice in general. Like I'll be like, I matched with you because I could see the potential, but I think you can do better. So I'll like take pictures for people. Like even if they're like, not meant to date me, I'll still take a cute picture. I'm like, here, use this for to hook the next person. Like you can do better. Like put your actual self out there, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You're lucky somebody swiped on you who loves to go on bad dates. So
exactly. Like I love a good story. I will do it for the plot, but like you could actually go on dates with people who like see you for who you are if you put it out there correctly. Yeah.
Such an underrated service, Sarah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing the blooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to our next time. And yeah, we hope you have a wonderful, one more check. Is there anything else you want to get out there in the world? Bloopers, more bloopers. If you want bloopers, we're here for it.
No, I think that's it. Just like everyone be kind to people and like get tested regularly. Don't be that person.
Exactly.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on and everything you shared.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on, sharing everything you did today. It was lovely to talk with you, and we're excited to get this episode out there.
Yep. A bunch of gratitude from my side as well. And to all of your partners and we'll call them future guests of the podcast.
Yes, please come on and share too.
Hint, hint. Hint, hint.
We wanted to remind all of you that our next community monthly workshop is going to be August 7th on reframing hierarchy. You can come and join us for that. And we're really excited about that. Also, we want to remind you that our next in-person community retreat is the first weekend in October 2025. Come join us in the Bay Area and meet everybody in person.
Yep, you can find links to all of that under the community tab of our website at normalizingnonmonogamy.com. And next week, we've got a fantastic interview coming at you with Marla Schreiber. It is a super great interview. And Marla is also the host of, or the facilitator of our August workshop on reframing hierarchy. So we talk a bit about hierarchy next week and just a ton of other incredible stuff as we get through Marla's story. So
you're going to want to come back and listen.
That's the whole point. That's what I was trying to tell you is come back next week. We will see you then. Have a wonderful week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.